Good afternoon. This is Rich Nass, and I am here for this week's installment of 5 Minutes With. Our interviewee today is Joel Young, who is the Senior Vice President of R&D and the CTO of Digi. Hello, Joel. How are you today?
Hey, I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for coming on. Okay, so we're going to do this in 5 minutes, so I'm going to ask these questions in rapid fire. Most of the audience is familiar with Digi, I would assume. You guys claim to be a leader in M2M technology and have been around for 30 years. Now, lots of people associate M2M with IoT and everything connected, but the IoT has only been around for a few years, and you guys have been doing this for 30. So what's the connection there? And I mean that I don't mean that.
No, that's fine. I mean, so, the IoT is one of these megatrends. Whenever you deal with technology megatrends, I think a lot of times people forget or ignore what's been going on for a long time. I mean, our business over 30 years has been connecting machines to applications to drive some sort of business value. It's just that when we started, it was over serial ports before networking, okay? And so now, we've moved through networks to wireless networks and all of that. So there's a lot of the same machines out there that we've been working with for a number of years, but now with the advent of wireless and the easy way of connecting things wirelessly, all of a sudden the rest of the world has woken up into this megatrend and said, wow, the Internet of Things, gosh, we can connect everything. And I find that a lot of people have been doing this for a long time. The other thing I just add real quickly is that we need to distinguish between the commercial side of the Internet of Things, or M2M, and the consumer side. There's a lot of the hype that you see out there in the world is related to consumer products, and frankly, that consumer products aren't what we do at Digi. Consumers are motivated by entertainment, by convenience, by personal well-being. Commercial applications are driven by business value, new revenue. How can I drive efficiency? How can I enhance relationship with customers? So, but consumers get all the hype. We focus on business and making money.
Hype, well, I'm not even going to touch that. I'm just going to leave that. You've talked about some of the things that have changed in M2M and IoT in the last couple of years. What's the biggest change we can expect to see moving forward?
Well, I think moving forward, the big barrier that we continue to have is complexity, right? And it's still complicated for people to try to attach an embedded thing to those that are experts in web services and all of that. And what we see moving forward, and we continue this with whether it's new open source platforms and environments, easy to use modules, is a reduction in this complexity. In other words, so more and more plug and play, making it easier to connect things that hadn't been connected before. And we've seen that over the last several years, that complexity going down, and we at Digi continue to see that complexity. Actually, we feel we're one of the leaders in helping reduce that complexity.
Well, that's a really good thing, because I know it's a pretty complex web these days. Okay, so you're clearly involved in the security business, whether you like it or not. What's the most troubling aspect of security as it relates to having things connected?
Well, that's a really interesting question, Rich, because I see it on two sides. First side, I see it is on the device side. Customers don't even think about security sometimes. And even today, with all that's gone on in the news about security, connecting a little thing, it's like, oh, I got to worry about security for that? I'm not even sure how to even think about it. And there's this notion that you can slap a password on a machine. Well, machines don't know how to change their password, so those sorts of security paradigms are just left out. On the other side, I run into security paranoid customers, and I'll say on the other side, those on the application side that are terrified about things like clouds. And in reality, we find that clouds are actually unbelievably secure because they get the economies of scale on implementing good security policy. So my biggest challenge is to kind of bring these kind of groups together. So all the embedded people, you got to worry about security, and the people that are afraid on the applications on the cloud, you got to realize that you already have some really good security policy out there.
Okay, those are really valid points. We're just about up to our 5 minutes, but I have to ask you, with all due respect, you work for a company who's set up shop in Minnesota. Does that affect your ability to attract engineering talent?
Well, I mean, not really. I think it's a common myth that you figure that engineers only want to go to warm places, and that you can't find good engineers in Minnesota or Michigan or Georgia or wherever, right? I mean, sure, there's a lot of technology. People like to go out to the Silicon Valley or up in Seattle and then the whole Northwest, but there are a lot of really smart people that just like the quality of life that we have, say, here in Minnesota. So I think it's a little disingenuous to assume that all engineers or the good engineers are only going to go west or to warm places. So I'm not worried. We're a global company. We've got people everywhere. Yeah.
As a born and raised New Jerseyan, I wholeheartedly agree with you, and we have smarter people here in New Jersey than anywhere else, right?
Hey, I lived 10 years in New Jersey too, so I'm with you on New Jersey as well.
There you go. Well, thank you very much. That was Joel Young, the Senior Vice President of R&D and the CTO for Digi. Thank you, Joel.
Well, thanks a lot, Rich. I appreciate it.